Tonight, NATO countries respond to Donald Trump's call to protect the Strait of Hormuz. Their answer? A resounding no.
There will be no military participation.
Rejection met by renewed threats from the U.S. president.
We don't need anybody. We don't need them.
The global implications of this high-stakes standoff. Parts of Ontario and Quebec buried in more than 40 centimetres of snow.
They could end up in the top 5 of two-day snowfall events that they've ever had.
Families snowed in, highways shut down, and the digging out just beginning. Hundreds of American healthcare workers now choosing to call Canada home.
One of us is getting out, is how it felt for friends and family.
What's luring so many doctors to BC?
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Adrian is on assignment. Tonight, a clear fracture is emerging between Donald Trump and longtime NATO allies. The U.S. president repeating calls for help protecting oil tankers being targeted by Iran as war rages on in the Middle East. Many of those allies refusing. At issue, the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran still controls, with ever-growing consequences being felt around the globe. Still, reluctant world leaders say they did not start this war and will not risk causing it to expand. Trump, in turn, saying there will be consequences for that defiance. Paul Hunter now with why countries are refusing to enter the conflict in spite of Trump's threats.
In Tehran, misery and destruction at countless street corners as the U.S.-Israel assault on Iran rolls on. In reply, more Iranian retaliation, including this drone strike on a fuel tank at the Dubai International Airport. No one was injured. Meanwhile, all eyes remain on the Strait of Hormuz. Crucial to global oil transport, it remains effectively paralyzed over fears of Iranian strikes on tankers.
We're always there for NATO.
Leading Donald Trump on the weekend to demand military help from other countries in efforts to reopen the strait. The response? In South Korea, anti-Trump demonstrations. And from Germany,
There will be no military participation.
a succinct rationale.
We have a situation which we did not provoke, which we don't cause at all.
The denials were swift and broad. Longtime U.S. allies saying to Trump, no. Spain, Italy, Greece, the U.K.
If we are to send our servicemen and women into harm's way, the very least they deserve is to know that they do so on a legal basis and with a proper, thought-through plan.
NATO countries have no obligation to join the war. Still, the U.S. president now suggests the alliance may be fractured.
Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me.
But Trump critics underline the U.S. has hardly done its allies any favors lately, including NATO partners.
President Trump has been basically offending all of these people and pushing them away, slapping tariffs on them, making it very clear that he doesn't care about the partnership or the alliance.
Meanwhile, Trump also saying today again that Iranian forces have been, in his words, literally obliterated and that the war could end soon. But he gave no other details. Erica.
And on that, Paul, there's reporting tonight of the U.S. and Iran possibly reopening communications?
Yeah, the report by the news organization Axios cites a U.S. source saying Iran reached out to the U.S. via text with the apparent aim of finding a way to end the fighting. But the story is being denied by Iran, which calls it an effort by the U.S. to mislead oil traders. Still, Trump says he's not opposed to talk because, quote, sometimes good things come out of it. Erica.
All right. Thanks, Paul. That's Paul Hunter reporting in Washington tonight. Officials in Lebanon say more than 1 million people have now been driven from their homes as fighting between Israel and Hezbollah intensifies. The Israeli army drove its armored vehicles into southern Lebanon to continue what it's calling a limited ground operation. Canada is among 5 countries that issued a joint statement saying a significant Israeli ground offensive would have devastating humanitarian consequences and could lead to a protracted conflict, adding it must be averted. Mark Carney has found more common ground with an ally pushing back on Trump's demands. The Prime Minister meeting with his UK counterpart as Canada reiterates what it's willing and not willing to do. Ashley Burke now on Canada's potential role in the region.
Canada's Prime Minister visiting a key NATO ally as the future of the alliance faces a new threat.
A really good opportunity today to tackle the really difficult issues.
Mark Carney and the UK's Keir Starmer discussing the US-Israeli war with Iran, the toll it's taking on civilians, and risk it could escalate.
Thank you very much.
This on the same day Donald Trump continues to push for help securing the Strait of Hormuz.
We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the strait far more than ours.
Trump says some countries are in. He didn't name them, but the defense minister says Canada isn't one of them.
There has been no formal ask of Canada. We have no intention of getting involved offensively in the prosecution of the war in the region.
Instead, Canada is still considering helping defend Gulf countries from Iranian strikes.
It will depend on the nature of any kind of ask. It will depend on the nature of what assistance we can provide.
Canada's Navy has struggled with the shortfall of sailors and aging warships.
Our ships that we're looking to replace right now don't have a very sophisticated high-end air defense aspect.
He says Canada's Navy would be put in harm's way if deployed to the Gulf and forced to rely on other countries' warships for protection.
Any asset you put into that region would be worried about not just the mines that the Iranians have started to lay in some quantity, but also their drones and their missiles.
Dave Perry says Canada also doesn't have the missile interceptors that Gulf countries need, and that leaves Canada playing a largely symbolic role that could involve sending planning staff to help allies coordinate the assets they do have. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Canada's annual inflation rate eased last month, but economists are already warning that won't last because of the war in the Middle East. The increase slowed to 1.8% in February from 2.3% in January. It's mainly tied to the end of the federal tax holiday last year. Gasoline was also substantially cheaper compared to a year ago, but the new rate doesn't yet reflect the spike in gas prices seen over the last few weeks. A major storm is wreaking havoc tonight across a huge swath of northern Ontario and Quebec. Some communities are buried under about 40 centimetres of fresh snow. As Michelle Song shows us, that has shut down much of the area.
Everywhere you look, everyone here is digging out after a major winter storm slammed parts of Ontario and Quebec.
I think it's a lot of snow.
The heavy snow and freezing rain started Sunday night, canceling transit in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, closing city buildings in Sudbury, dumping more than 40 centimeters of snow throughout the region, combined with strong winds that created hazardous road conditions.
One of the biggest challenges right now is the blowing snow. We do have low visibility at times in the drifting snow across the roads.
Several highways in northern Ontario were shut down. Ontario Provincial Police said they were digging out more than 40 stranded tractor trailers on the province's second longest highway.
The crews are working hard and they are removing basically one by one at this point.
But the storm extends well past northern Ontario. Central Quebec is also being hit hard, and Environment Canada warnings for high winds and rain extend right into Atlantic Canada. In Val d'Or, Quebec, schools, businesses, and city services closed, with snow expected to persist until Tuesday. Across the region, officials are warning people to stay at home.
There is a potential for places like Sault Ste. Marie that they could end up in the top 5 of 2-day snowfall events that they've ever had.
Definitely doesn't feel like March. It feels like we're in the middle of January still.
For some, that's meant clearing their driveways multiple times in one day. They're hoping now for a bit of reprieve.
If anyone's seen Spring, can you please tell her we miss her and we love her and she can come back anytime?
But for them, a reminder from Environment Canada, winter isn't over yet, and there could still be more of this to come. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
In the U.S., violent winter weather has grounded or delayed thousands of flights.
We had to wait like an hour to even check our bags, and it was like a 2-minute process. I could like punch through a wall right now. I'm like just like over it.
One system slammed through the Midwest on the weekend, now barreling toward the East Coast with millions in its path. The National Weather Service warns that powerful tornadoes could develop and track along the ground for 50 kilometers or more. The closer to the coast, the greater the danger tonight. CBC News has obtained new data showing BC has hired hundreds of U.S. doctors and nurses. Those jobs the result of a recruitment blitz targeting American healthcare workers. And as Tanya Fletcher shows, that campaign is far from over.
So what was it that made you decide to leave the States?
Well, there was probably one moment.
That moment for Dr. Ann Herdman Royal was a mass shooting at the hospital she was working at in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 4 people were killed, including 2 fellow doctors.
I was just so horrified. I came home from the lockdown and I just told my husband, we have to get out of here.
The next day, she began the application process to move to BC and started her new job as a pathologist at Nanaimo's Hospital in October. Since then, she says she's been getting calls on a weekly basis from colleagues in the U.S. wanting to do the same.
One of us is getting out, is how it felt for friends and family. The red tape being cut, it's been a lot easier to do.
Come to BC.
A year ago, BC began recruiting doctors and nurses in Washington State, Oregon, and California. The blitz has generated 2,800 applications and more than 400 hires so far.
This makes a real impact. And as time goes on, I know that we are just going to see these numbers rise.
BC is now looking to expand its campaign, and several other provinces are actively recruiting in the U.S. as well. Manitoba announced in January it had hired 13 American doctors, and in August, Nova Scotia had licensed 19.
We're headed in the right direction, but it's not the full answer to the problem that we have.
This medical researcher says recruitment campaigns are effective, but the rest of the healthcare system has to keep up too.
We need provincial resources to go not just into the hiring of individuals, but also setting up the system where those individuals are going to work.
Back in Nanaimo, Dr. Herdman Royal is now applying for permanent residency.
I've started enjoying my job again. I don't live in the hospital. It's the true elusive work-life balance. I guess it's been on Vancouver Island the whole time.
A place she hopes to call home forever. Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, Nanaimo, BC.
New research suggests women who give birth develop complications more frequently than previously thought. It also sheds light on when those complications occur. Lauren Pelly shows us why that's important for protecting new mothers.
Paige Eaton thought everything went smoothly when she delivered her son Archie by C-section 3 years ago. But days later, she went back to hospital with an infected wound, which led to life-threatening sepsis and a months-long recovery.
It's just the worst pain you could ever imagine. And the main thing is you feel like you're going to die. That could have been my outcome. And thankfully it wasn't. But for a lot of women, that is their outcome.
New research looking at more than 1 million Ontario deliveries shows more women have close calls than previously thought.
This translates to thousands of different human beings who have experienced these events that we have not been accounting for.
The study found that while more than half the cases of severe maternal morbidity happened during childbirth itself, close to 16% were earlier in pregnancy, and nearly a third happened during the 6 weeks after, a time when many women aren't being monitored as closely.
Making sure that people have access to follow-up care and support during that period is really important.
In Canada, patients are usually discharged from hospital within a few days after childbirth, and not all women have check-ins later on with a family doctor, nurse, or midwife.
And sometimes we focus on the baby more than on mother because the babies might need more attention.
Life-threatening cases linked to pregnancy and childbirth do remain rare, but there is still a long list of possible complications, including severe blood loss, kidney failure, and sepsis. Looking back, Eaton says both her midwife and hospital workers downplayed her early concerns about pain and fever in the days after her son's delivery. Her message now?
Advocate for yourself and get checked.
Since serious issues can arise later than most people think. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
A political storm is brewing around former hockey commentator Don Cherry. Some federal Conservatives are pushing for him to be awarded the Order of Canada. But as Kate McKenna shows us, there's strong opposition, even within party ranks.
For more than 3 decades, Don Cherry's colorful suits and hot takes made Coach's Corner central to Canadian hockey culture.
I'm speaking for the average Canadian that gets up in the morning at 6 o'clock, pays his taxes, and keeps his mouth shut.
Now, at 92 years old, Cherry has become a controversial figure, sparking division over calls for him to be awarded one of the country's top honors.
Love him. He's a national icon. Grew up watching him.
I know he said some things that are a little bit off, but it was always pro-Canada.
Federal Conservatives have launched a petition to appoint Cherry to the Order of Canada, pointing to significant contributions to Canadian sport and culture and lauding his candid and unapologetic style. The idea has the backing of Alberta's Premier and Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford.
He's the most patriotic Canadian I've ever seen.
But Quebec Conservative MPs are distancing themselves from their own party's push over comments Cherry made about French Canadians and Quebec nationalism.
They don't want the Canadian flag, but they want our money.
Saying this about the Quebecer chosen to carry the flag at the 1998 Olympics.
And then we pick a French guy on some ski and nobody knows about. He complains.
Jean-Luc Brassard is a gold medal winner.
His eventual firing came in 2019 over this line about immigrants.
You people love you. They come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for a poppy.
A history so fraught, some wonder whether the Conservatives considered Quebec before launching the petition.
It's a bit of a head scratcher. I have a very hard time seeing what the upside is here. You have to understand that, Mr. Cherry is not just famous in Quebec. He's infamous.
It can take years before a nominated person is awarded the Order of Canada, meaning the debate around Cherry's legacy could last a while. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
It was a big night for Canada at the Academy Awards.
And the Oscar goes to The Girl Who Cried Pearls.
Thank you, the fantastic city of Montreal.
Why it's putting a spotlight on funding for Canadian talent. Next. Plus, despite a recent eruption of cartel violence, Mexican officials are insisting the country is safe.
People can be sure that everything will be all right and will be secure.
The message to fans as the World Cup approaches. And a sandy discovery off the coast of Nova Scotia.
When we first saw it, it was just a few pieces of wood sticking out of the sand, but we started digging away at these few pieces.
The piece of history that was uncovered. We're back in 2. We're now getting our first look at Canada's jerseys for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. At home, the team will wear red on red. And when designated as the road team, it will be this black design. Canada will open their tournament in Toronto on June 12th. Their opponent has not yet been determined. Tonight, Canada's Oscar winners are still celebrating the incredible thrill of being honored for their work on a global and glamorous stage. Eli Glasner caught up with some of the big winners as he rounds up just how well this country did.
That night, everything changed. Those words ringing true for a pair of Canadian animators now at the top of their field.
And the Oscar goes to The Girl Who Cried Pearls.
They say they never thought they would win. Now reality is sinking in.
As everyone says, it's heavier than it looks.
All thanks to The Girl Who Cried Pearls, a stop-motion animated short dedicated to the city that welcomed them.
There's more fantastic musicians, painters, filmmakers, actors than you can shake a stick at. Like we joke that if you throw a rock out the window, you'll hit a double bass,
While it was a great night for the Montrealers, they weren't the only Canadians being celebrated. K-pop Demon Hunters took the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. A big moment for the co-director, Toronto's Maggie Kang. Plus the many Canadians who helped bring the new Frankenstein to life. From the now Oscar-winning hair and makeup team, to the production design team of Tamara Devereaux, seen here hugging the director, and Shane Vio, who shouted out the city where where Frankenstein was filmed.
There's no better artisans than in Toronto. I mean, we are definitely on the world market. That's continually why we're there, and we've proven that over the years.
Industry observers point out the awards don't arrive without stable support.
There has to be some money put to where people's mouths are, basically. Like, these things don't exist miraculously. In 2024, we saw a big chunk of the NFB staff eliminated in budget cuts. We saw regional production offices shuttered across the country.
Right now, this Oscar-winning pair has a bigger problem.
I want to see the reaction on the face of the guy who's scanning, X-ray scanning it when we put it, when I put my belt and shoes and my Oscar in.
Getting their hardware home. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Los Angeles.
As pressure mounts to protect oil tankers in the Middle East, the economic weight of the war is spreading.
Freight cost now is the price is high.
How China is hurting now and why it could benefit in the future. Plus, the Trump administration's shifting timeline for its mission in Iran.
We projected 4 to 5 weeks.
It could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 3.
The dangers that come with that inconsistency.
There actually is a lack of coherence, a lack of decision making.
And what could actually determine how long the war lasts. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. Afghanistan is accusing Pakistan of an airstrike on a drug rehabilitation hospital in Kabul. It says at least 400 people have been killed and 250 others have been wounded. Pakistan dismissed the accusation, saying it did not hit any civilian sites. An island-wide power outage has now hit Cuba as its electricity grid continues to struggle and its energy crisis deepens. The U.S. has blocked oil shipments to the country, threatening tariffs on anyone who defies the blockade. In the Oval Office today, Donald Trump said he thinks he'll have, quote, the honor of taking Cuba, saying he can do anything he wants with it. Trump now says his planned trip to China later this month may be delayed to deal with the war in the Middle East. He's been pressuring China to help secure the Strait of Hormuz, the critical shipping route caught up in the fighting. China has so far not agreed, but as Chris Brown shows us, its businesses are feeling the effects of the fighting.
For an economy as immense as China's, the impact of the war in the Gulf is vast, but also complicated. Take the central city of Yiwu.
This place is notable for having the largest market for household consumer goods anywhere in the world. 80,000 stores selling jewelry, electronics, clothing, you name it, it's here. The Middle East is the largest destination, and all of that trade is disrupted.
Which size? Oh, so big.
70% of this woman's footwear customers are in the Middle East. Suad told us the price of sending a shipping container to the region has tripled, so 25,000 pairs of her shoes and boots are in limbo.
Freight cost now is the price is high.
So all of this, all going to the Middle East?
Yes.
All of it.
At Li Tanghui's warehouse, boxes and equipment parts are also piling up.
这是工程设备，这是一个客户的。
So this is industrial for Iraq. Some of that's for Lebanon.
He says prices for raw materials are rising quickly.
我相信会有一些。
Plastic prices have gone up 40%, he says. This will have a significant price impact on the entire product and supply chain if the war continues. China is the biggest importer of Iranian oil, and pump prices here have already spiked 12%. But China's energy grid is also increasingly powered by renewables and cars by electric batteries, meaning there's also built-in resilience to any oil disruption. Rocky Lee is with the Chamber of Commerce for this part of China.
我们整体啊，我觉得还是比较乐观的。
I feel this is like the Iraq War, he says. The United States finished the war and left, but Iraq needed Chinese goods to rebuild. I believe the same goes for Iran and even Israel. That captures the pragmatic mindset of many Chinese towards the war launched by the United States and Israel, that in spite of short-term costs, there could be even greater opportunities when the fighting ends. Chris Brown, CBC News in Yiwu, China.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. The FIFA World Cup kicks off in just 87 days, and questions linger over co-host Mexico's security plan after cartels attacked multiple cities last month.
People can be sure that everything will be all right and will be secure.
Optimism from officials and concern from local residents. But first,
Iran is being absolutely decimated.
while Trump touts U.S. military success against Iran, his timeline to end the conflict is less defined.
The impression that he makes is that he's making it up as he moves.
More than 2 weeks in, could Trump even stop the conflict if he wanted to? Ashley Fraser looks at the murky war objectives and what actually might make Trump change course.
So when Trump was asked on Friday when the war in Iran would be over, he said,
"When I feel it." Okay. I feel it in my bones.
Initially at the start of the war, he said it could go on for
4 to 5 weeks.
Then on day 5, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said,
It could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 3.
But by day 8, a more vague timeline.
It'll continue, I'm sure, for a little while.
And on day 10, a reporter asked if the war would end by the end of that week.
No, but soon. I think so.
Still, the experts we spoke to say the administration's inconsistency could be saying something else.
The impression that he makes is that he's making it up as he moves.
James Dorsey is a journalist and fellow focused on the geopolitics of the Middle East.
So what you see is a foreign policy that is basically based on the principle of might makes right, that is enforced by displays of military superiority.
They have talked about wanting to significantly change but keep the regime, but they have also talked about simply diminishing or eliminating the Islamic Republic's missile program, its nuclear program, some of its other military capabilities. So the bottom line is that we simply do not know at this point what the precise end goal is.
Thomas Juneau is a public and international affairs professor.
Is that a deliberate strategy? I do not think so. My best guess at this point is that there actually is a lack of coherence, a lack of decision-making at the center.
And this expert on Iran's foreign policy strategy says the U.S. wasn't prepared for Iran to regionalize the war.
Do I think that Donald Trump expected that? No, I think he expected the regime to basically collapse, like the collapse of the Syrian regime in 2024, the Saddam Hussein regime in 2003, and the Gaddafi regime in 2011. That's what he expected. He did not expect the kind of resilience in terms of regime capacity that we have seen in the last couple of weeks.
In the first statement shared from Iran's new supreme leader, read out by Iran's state TV broadcaster, he said that Iran should continue to block the Strait of Hormuz as a way to pressure its enemy. And that move could create enough pressure to impact Trump's shifting timeline. Let's look at what he said today.
We are talking to other countries about working with us for the policing of the strait. We are demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory.
And Juneau says it's domestic pressures triggered by the blockage, like high gas prices and changes to the stock market, that might once again change Trump's objectives of the war and its end goal.
If that pressure mounts, that is what will eventually make him stop, not anything that is actually going on the ground in Iran or the Persian Gulf.
And Dorsey even says that creating that domestic pressure in the US is all part of Iran's strategy.
The Iranian strategy is to inflict pain on the American electorate, pain on the international community as such, because of the disruptions in the oil markets and the disruptions more generally economically.
Presumably, Trump might be trying to avoid a moment like this.
In the battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
When former US President George W. Bush claimed that major combat in the war in Iraq had ended 6 weeks into the mission. That later went on to last nearly 9 years. But ultimately, how much of this timeline is really up to Trump?
Donald Trump, I think, would like this conflict to end as long as he can do some kind of a victory lap and move on to the next shiny object.
He also insists that he can end this war at his leisure, whenever he wishes to do so. The problem is, it takes 3 to tango. In other words, he needs both Israel and Iran to agree to that.
Today, Trump said the U.S. and Iran are negotiating, but Iran's foreign minister said his last contact with the U.S. envoy was prior to their attack on his country. Coming up, for a small, remote Indigenous community in northern BC, basketball is more than just a game.
I think the nation has really benefited from having this kids basketball team.
The game giving young people stability and connecting a community. Next. Mexico is preparing to welcome millions of fans for soccer's biggest event, the FIFA World Cup this summer. But violence rocked several cities just weeks ago, and fears about security are casting a shadow over preparations. Jorge Barrera traveled to Guadalajara, one of Mexico's 3 host cities. Locals are anxiously trying to draw attention to the darker forces at play, while officials insist the country is safe.
The world's most famous trophy shines in Guadalajara, Jalisco, one of 3 Mexican cities hosting FIFA World Cup soccer matches this summer. Top officials in a celebratory mood. Mexico's Secretary of the Interior, Rosa Isela Rodriguez Velázquez, declaring Mexicans the best fans in the world, and that the country was at peace and safe to visit. The governor of the state of Jalisco, Pablo Lemus Navarro, thanking the Mexican military for putting the state back on its feet, all projecting security and stability. After an explosion of violence 6 days earlier, on February 22nd, engulfing Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, and other places across the country, triggered by the death of a drug lord at the hands of Mexican special forces, leaving some in Guadalajara's business community feeling uncertain as they prepare to greet the world.
Es una sombra, tal cual así. Creo que es una sombra que muchos a lo mejor tampoco queremos materializar del todo, ¿no? Pero un poco sabemos que está ahí.
On the walls of Perla Montes de Oca's Pesebre restaurant, an homage to the city's soccer history. Across the street is the old stadium that hosted matches to the 1986 World Cup.
Para mis papás era mundial, sinónimo de brasileños brincando y bailando samba en las mesas nuevas que habían comprado.
Montes de Oca will also be close to the action. El Pesebre now has a storefront at the new stadium on the outskirts of the city.
Nosotros estamos con los brazos abiertos para recibir no solo a los extranjeros, a Canadá, a otros países.
She says she has full trust in authorities to stop a repeat of February 22nd's events from tarnishing this year's World Cup.
Yo confío en que se han contemplado todas las variables posibles y que tienen esa certeza y esa seguridad de que todo podría
That's a message Guadalajara's business community is trying to reinforce too.
Things happen in every country.
Gustavo Stufert is vice president of Jalisco's tourism board. He says it's time to move on.
People are going to have fiesta all around, and people can be sure that everything will be all right and will be secure.
There's another type of ongoing violence that exists here, perpetuated by government agencies and criminal groups. The faces of the disappeared posted throughout the city. Jalisco has the highest number of missing persons, 16,000, in a country with more than 130,000 people reported vanished. Their bodies regularly found dumped and buried in spots like these, discovered last year, not far from the World Cup stadium.
No es normal que desaparezcan gente. No es normal que pase esto en ninguna parte del mundo.
Hector Flores Gonzalez's son Daniel disappeared after he was grabbed by agents from Jalisco's Attorney General's office, who were working with organized crime.
Esa es la realidad de Jalisco, esa es la realidad de este país. La violencia extrema, el narcoterrorismo y la incapacidad institucional de salvaguardar a la población.
Flores Gonzalez leads a group of family members called Light of Hope. They plan to converge on Mexico City with other families of the disappeared on June 11th, the opening day of the World Cup.
Es importante el mundial, claro que es importante. Lo que no está bien para el país es olvidar, tapar la memoria, tapar la justicia y la verdad con la excusa de un evento deportivo.
After the show ends, this reality remains.
And Mexico will get its first major security test next week ahead of this summer's tournament. Guadalajara is one of the 2 host cities for the Six Nations FIFA playoff. The top 2 teams will earn the final spots at the World Cup. Athletes from more than 100 teams are playing in this year's Junior All-Native Basketball Tournament in Langley, BC. Among them, a group of players from Quadacha Nation. Gordon Lovren shares their journey to this championship and how the sport is inspiring a community of fewer than 400 people.
In the middle of winter in Fort Ware, an Indigenous basketball team clings to their hoop dreams. Another chance to make up for the victory that slipped through their fingers last year.
Making it to the championship, they were just excited.
Demi Pelli is head coach of the Quadacha team and recalls just how close they came to victory in the Junior All-Native Basketball Tournament.
It was a close game, so it was just cool for them to have those feelings and play those other teams because they just have never experienced it before.
Fort Ware is 600 kilometers north of Prince George, located upstream from the Williston Lake Reservoir. Access to the community is along Forest Service roads and by air. Only 350 people live in this remote Indigenous community in the middle of northern BC. But even here, basketball is king.
I think the nation has really benefited from having this kids basketball team.
Braden Abu sits on the Quadacha Nation Council. He says basketball has transformed his people and their community.
And you can see it in even the little kids now. They always want to shoot a basketball in morning gym or even at floor hockey.
The Second A people have occupied the Rocky Mountain Trench long before first contact. In 1920, a trading post was established at Fort Ware, once located further toward Prince George. Commercial trapping sustained the Second A people.
Because at the base of who we are as a people, it's always back to the land.
The community was forced to relocate as they escaped the flooding caused by the WAC Bennett Hydro Dam in 1968. More than 1,700 square kilometers of their land was lost, a traumatic history. Today, on the banks of the Finley River, Fort Ware is doing all it can to build success for its boys' basketball team.
I think that there's definitely a special place for trauma-informed care within sports.
Nicole Thompson is the manager of the Quadacha basketball team.
Some of these boys have never seen tall buildings, so it's going to be very interesting for them when we go down there. You don't realize the overstimulation of a city when you don't spend much time in one.
For now, Thompson says the best thing for the team is real game experience.
The more time we can get in on practicing with other teams would be the best thing for us. The more connection with other Indigenous communities, the better.
Living in the far north in an isolated community means team members often spend more time on the land together. But even out here, basketball isn't far from their mind.
If I didn't have basketball, I wouldn't know where I would be right now.
Leland Poole is the team captain. A few years ago, he took it upon himself to approach his coach at her house.
Me and a couple other boys from Matthew Davies School wanted to make a change in the community. So we went up to Denise's door, asked her to set up basketball, and she was willing to do it. And we were just so happy that she did.
The basketball program does more than instill teamwork. For Carter Cowan, it's brought stability to his life. At 10, he moved from Prince George and had to adjust to living without his parents.
My mom wasn't doing very good. She was following her friends down the wrong path, and our dad brought us up here to, just to see how it is, and I liked it. I liked the freedom, not being stuck inside all day.
It's been a tough road for Carter. Now 14, having the support of his team and coaches has taught him how to cope.
So when I get mad, I think about that in my head. I try to keep it in my head so I could think about being a role model to also the little ones when they come to watch us too, and respect our name, the name on our jerseys.
It's Sunday afternoon, and the big exhibition game between the boys' team and the men of Fort Ware is underway. Family and friends are out to cheer them on. It's the kind of training they need for the provincial tournament in Langley.
I'm just really thankful that they trusted me enough to want me to be their coach. I've known some of these boys since they were little in grade 4.
It's not every day that you get to have a team from this far up north.
And definitely, I think that the basketball program has kind of taught the boys that they can and will do whatever they need to do.
I'm nervous because there's going to be a lot of people, and also I feel like I'd be crowded in there and stuff.
Basketball has changed our community. It's shown the younger generation that there is a way out here. There's a lot more in the world than just Fort Ware.
Win, lose, or draw, basketball has taken this small, isolated northern town and its team onto the provincial stage. And for team members like Leland Poole and Carter Cowan, their hoop dreams extend to one day becoming pro basketball players.
And today, Quadacha narrowly lost their opening game in the tournament, going down 57-55 to the Snanawas Sawbills. They play again on Tuesday. Archaeologists dig up a big piece of history on Nova Scotia's Sable Island.
There's so much information and story that comes out of a find like this. That's what excites me.
What makes this find extra special? Next in our moment. These are some archaeologists from Parks Canada unearthing a shipwreck on Nova Scotia's Sable Island. They believe this ship was traveling from Bermuda during the War of 1812. This exciting find makes our moment.
We found a shipwreck related to a shipwreck event in 1812 on the northeast part of Sable Island. And we usually find, small pieces scattered here and there. This is a very complete state and very good condition. That's what's really remarkable. When we first saw it, it was just a few pieces of wood sticking out of the sand. But we started digging away. Out came this incredible 13-meter-long section of the ship. We believe this is one of 3 ships that wrecked in September in 1812. There was a convoy going from Bermuda to Newfoundland, and this is during the War of 1812. You had a British naval vessel escorting 2 schooners and a sloop. This is the sloop of those 3 ships. It's the first time that we can associate wreck pieces on the island with an actual wreck event before the 20th century. It's very exciting. We documented it, then we recovered it. We wanted to make sure it stays in good condition. There's so much information and story that comes out of a find like this. That's what excites me.
Now, Sable Island is known as the graveyard of the Atlantic due to all the shipwrecks that have washed up there. Interesting fact, since 1583, there have been over 350 recorded shipwrecks on Sable Island, but none have been this big or as detailed. Another interesting fact, there are horses on Sable Island that arrived there during shipwrecks long ago. From all of us at the National, thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.